Ladies and gentlemen, people and pipettes, from this day forward, you will refer to me as the name Bate. And here we are. We got Hector. Hello.
Hello.
I'm just gonna frame myself like, okay, here. That's the middle. How are you doing, man?
Everyone.
So today we're gonna do something special. We're gonna try something. I'm not sure if it's gonna work or not, but we'll have at least a chance for people to call into the show just by calling on Skype. Skype name is Painting Buddha. If you just put like a call me Betty or something into the contact notification, then we'll try to get you on the air. There's going to be a little fiddling around with the settings doing this live if somebody calls in. And yeah, I think what we're going to do today is going to show you a little bit of sculpting. So Hector, you're all set with sculpting, right?
Yep, I'm sculpting away as we speak.
Okay. Well, let me put you on full screen real quick. Hold on. That's almost it. Here we go. And let me get rid of these things here. Okay, this is the first thing that's not working. Yep, here we go. Take this away. Actually, hold on. Here we go. I already had it.
Cool.
Okay, so you show BAM right now. That's the first unlock for a campaign.
Yep.
And you seem to be doing his nails.
Yes, I'm doing his nails.
So what are you? You're using ZBrush?
Yep. Yeah. This is ZBrush, and I'm sculpting his. I'm refining his fingers a little bit here.
Okay.
Sculpting away the fingernails. But yeah, before I continue with that, let me just show you the whole thing, how it's going so far. So yeah, on my left side of my screen, you'll probably see a bunch of my references of the monkeys that I'm looking at. So I collected a bunch of them into one sheet. Most of these are, of course, capuchin, and a few of them are macaques, Japanese macaques, and gibbons, and yeah, just a few different ones. But basically, all of them kind of trying to give me a bit of the feel that I'm going for. Okay. And over here we have the actual concept that I drew for BAM. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm trying to combine all of that. I mean, this is the 2D concept for BAM, and I'm not 100% happy with his likeness to capuchin monkeys. I think he's still a little bit off. Yeah. So I'm trying to still kind of bring him a bit closer in that direction in the 3D version. It's still going to take a bit of refining, but I think I'll be able to get him there. Also, once he has a bit more of an expression.
Are you still there? No, it's not. Okay, now it's back. Can you hear me? There's a problem with the internet connection between. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, as I said, there's going to be some experimenting going on. I think we may be back. We may be back. You might not even have to join the Google call. Do you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Bring us back.
Okay, so let's not do that. And here we go.
Running all these things at the same time. I said one of them was bound to go weird.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, we have you back now. The screen share is back on.
Uh-huh. Cool.
Okay. Yeah. So when you're creating a model like this, obviously this one is started completely from scratch.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Tell us a little bit about the process.
Well, basically, in this case, for example, if I were to just show you how this goes from scratch, I would start, for example, from a sphere, like this one right here, and then I turn on this funky magic mode in ZBrush called Dynamesh. And what this is, it's basically a free sculpting mode where you can start kind of pulling on the geometry like this, and then you do a certain mouse gesture, and the mesh kind of rebuilds itself, which is, I mean, yeah, of course, it's a bit of technical mumbo jumbo, but basically what it does is that it just becomes as much like virtual clay as possible. So, for example, with Bam, I started out just kind of pulling out his arms a bit like that, and then I started kind of trying to bring out a torso, then out something resembling some sort of head, very blobby at first. Of course. The whole thing starts out a bit amorphous, a bit shapeless, and then it gradually kind of takes form as you go along. So for example here, start moving what would be the arms around into a bit of a better position. And every time you reorganize the clay, it becomes friendlier to the shape that you're building. And yeah, this was one of those things that kind of helped ZBrush really come forward into helping a lot of people get into this.
Yeah.
It made it a lot less technical and a lot more artistic, more creative. And yeah, this is a very free sculpting mode.
Yeah.
Takes a little bit of getting used to. It did take me about a year. Between projects, I was still using a lot of my older techniques, and between projects, I kind of kept trying it out. For example, with Relic Knights, for the little ciphers that the Relic Knights have, those little like anime creatures that come Relic Knights. A lot of those I kind of tried to make them with Dynamesh, and that was they were really helpful for that because they're very simple little characters. They don't have too much complexity, and that allows you to just play with the main shapes of something. So yeah, it's a lot like this. For example, in my YouTube channel, I have a similar video of what you're seeing right now, of me building a male human body and a female. Yeah. So yeah, it's basically the same technique. Now he has a little pair of butt cheeks up in his head. Yeah, I mean, I recorded the whole process for Bam of doing this. So yeah, I will be kind of editing some of that together to make it a little shorter and a bit kind of easier to watch.
And that is one of the stretch goals we have, is that basically you've filmed the whole sculpting process for Betty, for the monkeys, and we plan to release this as a little kind of like a making of.
Yep.
I'm a big sucker for making of videos. Like whenever there's a video that I like a DVD or Blu-ray section, and they have a collector set or something like that out there, I'm always going with the collector set, and especially the making of. It's always something pretty amazing.
Yeah, I'm totally like that too. I'm always watching all the extended features on Blu-rays. Back in the days of DVDs, same thing.
Yeah.
It's just always really cool to watch as much as the creators, directors, or whoever lets you see of the process. It can be pretty interesting just to kind of see how all of that comes together. But yeah, basically this is the process, and it starts out like this, and gradually you kind of start giving it more of a better shape. There are many ways of starting this sort of thing. I know of some sculptors that rather than starting with one sphere, they start with several. They put one sphere where the torso would be, one sphere where the head would be.
Oh, okay.
And then they kind of shape those on their own first, and then they start combining them together and kind of giving them a bit of shape.
Have you basically self-taught the ZBrush to yourself? Is it something that you've studied, or how did you come about that?
ZBrush, I kind of had a bit of learning on the job experience with it. It came out by the time I was already working in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
In video games, and it did take a bit of time for me to learn it. I did learn some tricks from some coworkers and friends that were already using it.
Mm-hmm.
And
what did you use before?
mostly just either Maya or Max, just traditional
Okay.
3D programs. And but yeah, I think around 2005, 2006, at least in the studio where I was, they started integrating more ZBrush. And I mean, at that point, the industry was kind of demanding it. You could not do the level of detail that some clients and some projects needed with the tools that were around before. So yeah, we all had to transition into things like ZBrush. So yeah, I just kind of started picking it up slowly. And the nice thing about this kind of program, or this specific program, is that there's a huge community that is organized by the guys that make the program.
Mm-hmm.
So with that community, there's always been a lot of tutorial content, a lot of things available for everyone to learn and to see. And the artists that are already really good with it are also really good at sharing what they know.
Yeah.
For example, if you go to a place like ZBrush Central and you watch some of the top works in the gallery, a lot of the artists that post their work and then kind of show it off and end up getting recognition and like top row, they often get asked, of course, by other younger artists or less experienced artists, like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And they are very, very nice and basically just share the process. They show all kinds of breakdowns. They show all kinds of videos. So yeah, I mean, in YouTube, for example, there's the videos that I made of a few processes, like the female body and the male body. I don't have that much content up in my YouTube just yet. The other one is the Mega Man posing video. But basically, what what I have is just my little corner of how I do things. And YouTube, by now, you can find tons and tons of great videos and great tutorials from a lot of people on how they built something, how they did a certain project. So it's a great community to be part of. I mean, digital art I think it's moving things forward really fast, also making things a lot easier for younger generations. New artists, new students that come into the field, if they know the right keywords to search for with Google, if they know the right keywords to search for in a YouTube video, they can find almost anything. So yeah, it's, and my YouTube channel also is kind of a supplement to my teaching job. So what I'm going to be doing more and more with my YouTube channel is that I'm going to be recording short little videos of some of the same basics that I teach to my students. So some of the basics of how to use the program and what to keep in mind, some of the features that can be kind of cool. I want to make a lot of content like that, and not because there isn't that content out there, but just because I want to make basically a YouTube version of a lot of the stuff that I teach in class. So that people in my class have direct access to something that relates to how I'm teaching them things. Obviously, I might have to eventually update each of those videos as they go along. But yeah, it's all part of the whole deal.
Yeah. When you're sculpting, you're always starting with this kind of mugshot perspective, where you just what do you call them? The A pose, or what is it called?
Yeah, it's the T pose or the A pose. So basically, there's a little grid there underneath. Yeah, because you want to. It used to be that, for example, before people would be sculpting their base character with the arms this is going to be a bit grotesque, but it's more like this, basically.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
The full up arms, and slowly, because the riggers really wanted. Riggers are the people that put skeletons on characters for animation.
Yeah.
And for them, it was really useful to have the arms really all the way up. But then, as technologies change, approaches keep evolving, we started being able to just have the arms a little bit more down. Some people sculpt it with the arms really fully down, and they do these kind of almost very relaxed standing poses. I'm just sort of because coming from video games, I'm a bit still used to this kind of pose. It's just kind of my go-to thing, and you'll see, for example, that there's a little bit of knee bend going on.
Yeah.
And that's also because, again, it's part of the whole rigging thing. And in the case of something like an ape, they are not built for having their legs straight like we do.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, in this case, it actually kind of helps. I'm gonna switch back to the more sculpted one now. And yeah, this is also already reorganized as far as it's a simpler mesh at the lower levels. And then yeah, this is very useful for me for posing him, because with this lower resolution version of him in here, I can more easily do things like posing the arms and things like that. And of course, this is a bit of an unnatural pose for a capuchin monkey. They're mostly on 4, but we wanted these guys to. I mean, since we came up with the notion that they're sort of lab experiments, that they're a little bit enhanced bionically or maybe biologically even.
Yeah.
That they are able to stand on 2 legs a bit more, or they just prefer to do it now and then. But for example, for the statue, they will be at least one of them will be more of a traditional four-legged position. And
I think that's still so important to realize that this is not going to be the pose. Basically, when you did Betty, she looked the same. It's kind of like just stretched out, arms to the side kind of thing. And then when you have the details finished, then you go into posing the whole model.
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, I could show just real quick. This is a bit of a sneak peek of behind the scenes on Betty herself.
Okay, while you're looking for it, just gonna do a quick shout out. We have Jack Crow, one of the most piratey names in the universe.
Awesome.
It says almost missed it all the way from the UK. Betty, hello. So Jack, if you want to call in, if you're brave enough, you can do so. Again, Painting Buddha is the Skype username, all in one word. And I think it would be pretty cool if we have some people on the air.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, for example, Betty herself started sort of along these lines.
So this is the grown-up section now. It's 18 plus. If you're younger, please switch up.
So the younglings should cover their eyes. And this is the next step. I started putting the outfit on her, and then we kept going, putting on the hat, the jacket. So it all kind of came slowly together this way. And this is just my way of working. It's a bit different from how some other artists also work, even with miniatures and things like that. There's some artists that already start in pose, and I might try that with more pieces. I think I've done 1 or 2 pieces in pose before, but I haven't really gotten into that full mode yet. I'm still very used to this. And also, I kind of like having a basic model in this type of pose.
I think it's
that also gives.
Sorry, I think it's helpful, especially if you want to keep the dimensions of arms right. If you have to sculpt everything separately, then one might be shorter than the other, and so on. Yeah,
it helps keep symmetric things in place and things like that. But also it allows you, for example, with some characters, it's really come in handy to have the base model. I've done a few of my Relic Knights pieces as alternate models.
Mm-hmm.
The Mega Man model was that's one that had that was also modeled in this kind of neutral pose, and that model had a lot of mileage on it because I made 8 different minis from it.
Oh wow!
So yeah, because the Mega Man project required 8 different poses for him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they all kind of had to be done, and they all had to be done with the basic model.
Yeah.
So it was really good and useful to have his basic neutral pose.
And we went over the last couple of months. I think when did we start talking? I think in August, I believe.
Yeah, around August.
And we went obviously back and forth. You showed us some designs, and we nitpicked here and there. But I think mostly, for the most part, we left you alone. If you can confirm that or not.
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty free to put a lot of my spin on things, and I mean, a lot of the decisions on the design were kind of mutual and agreed from both of us. I think there was some things that like I thought were a good idea, and then you guys pointed out like no, maybe not, and then I ended up kind of agreeing, and then also some things went the other way around and kind of swayed in the different direction. This is the sketch, for example, of how our monkeys will be posed. So hopefully we manage to get to the next monkey unlock. And yeah, this is where Bam was, I think, a couple days ago. So yeah. So this folder has a lot of the process files that we were going through. Yeah, if we keep going well with funding and unlocking more stuff, then definitely we will have more weapons and both monkeys and a few other cool things that we're yet to talk about.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys out there if you have an echo or not right now, because I'm getting pretty bad echo. So I'm not sure what changed, but at least from your side, I get some echo.
You're getting an echo from my side?
Yeah, hold on one second. Maybe I can change it on my side.
Yeah, I haven't changed anything as far as I know.
That is technology for you.
Yep, it's always something, and you have to find out. It is.
I think we're good now.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. So we're back in ZBrush now, and yeah, I'm just kind of refining the shape of his hands, just getting them a bit better.
Now, ZBrush is not the most intuitive software out there, is it? Like, I've never seen a user interface like that before at all.
Yeah, it takes some getting used to, and it's I think it's definitely not something you can just too easily jump into. At the same time, a lot of my students, when I start teaching them ZBrush, they already had a Maya Basics course.
Mm-hmm.
So they already are sort of familiar with the concept of how 3D programs behave, right, and how they look. And I would say that 3D programs like Max and Maya are also not necessarily that intuitive. They're not something you can just easily jump into and figure things out. But once you understand and once you are taught a bit of how they behave and what to expect, then when you're starting to learn ZBrush, it can be a bit of a problem because you are expecting ZBrush to behave like a 3D program.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways it doesn't, and in some ways it's a very different interface. You definitely are a bit weirded out at first by it when you're looking at it and when you're trying to work with it, and then you sort of get used to it slowly, and then you kind of can't live without it. Really, once you learn the functions, once you learn the tools, there's almost no limit to some of the things that you can build, that you can do. So it's a really cool piece of software. Yep.
So I'm just switching over. I hope this works. Hold on. Can we see it? Yeah. So just switching over to the Betty collector set, and of course we've, with the support of our people out there, already unlocked the first one after just 2 days. That's the monkey Bam that Hector was just working on. And the second one, a lamb, will hopefully follow shortly. There's just about 20 people missing for funding, and we got the second monkey in. And then there's also all kinds of additional levels here. We'll have hand weapon, a boot knife. There's going to be an optional head, maybe later on, if we can unlock those kind of levels. And I think that's going to leave us with a really customized, beautiful little miniature. And obviously, in that scale, 75 millimeters, it's also good for people to just add on their own little things. It's easy to add on because it's rather large. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what people come up with.
Yeah, there's a lot of room to play. I think also the different items of clothing can be painted and colored in any way that you like. I mean, there's the colors that I came up with, but yeah, that whole paint job could go so many ways. I mean, one thing that I also wanted to do, and I didn't get around to it on the concept, is potentially give her a few tattoos that you can see peeking here and there. That she kind of has, I don't know, leg tattoos and a few on the arms, and that is totally an option that for painters to bring in and to have fun with. So yeah.
That's also a lot of the discussion we had when you sculpted her. We always thought about the painters as well.
Yeah.
And you sculpted something. We said, yeah, it looks great, but for the painter, it would be better if you wouldn't sculpt it. Things like that.
Yeah, we talked about the back of her jacket. Actually, I wanted to put I was actually thinking about putting a Painting Buddha logo back there, and kind of engrave it already, make it give it some volume.
Yeah.
But yeah, we realized that that would be a bit restrictive to the people that buy the piece. So we ended up deciding against that, and yeah, I think that was a good call. And yeah, there's so much room to still play. And yeah, one of the things that we've also discussed was that her skirt could be turned into an optional item.
Mm-hmm.
Just with a little bit more tooling and working with the piece, it would be possible basically to have a version that is just in wearing the shorts and tank top.
I'm just going to try to find the picture real quick because I'm going to want to show that. Hold on. So many dialogues. Where is she? Where is she?
Yeah, I mean, for example, you have this here. That I'm putting. Yeah, so her shorts are fully built and fully detailed. So that means that if we had a bit more time to work on the piece, basically we could build the belt in a way that would allow for it to just have the belt, or the belt with the skirt, and that would be a swappable section that would allow you to have the sculpt with the skirt or with just the hot pants.
Yeah, I think that's the route we definitely will be going, because I know that some people might not like the skirt. I like it, but then again, hot pants are nice as well. So.
Yeah, and I mean, if it is possible, why not? Why not do it for the backers and people?
So now you can actually see that. I mean, the knuckles of the monkey in the final cast will be pretty small. But we are even looking at this kind of level of detail to make sure that it's as anatomically correct as possible. Plus, especially areas like this will help you paint him later on.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, for example, the printer might not necessarily pick up this in their hands. I mean, this is way tiny, and they're smaller than Betty because they're capuchins. Yeah. So this might not pick up that well in the printer or in the cast, but it helps a lot for defining where the segments of the fingers are, also for later for posing the hands. it helps you know where you're going to be bending those parts.
Mm-hmm.
And it also just helps general definition. I mean, if I zoom in, yeah, you see them pretty well. But if you zoom out, you see still how they kind of segment the knuckles nicely, and you still inherit a bit of that, even if you lose some definition on the piece. I mean, in general, I've learned with miniatures to sculpt a lot of details that you might think like that's not going to pick up, and then sometimes you're surprised when they are picked up. And even when they're not, you are glad for the correct forms that you inherit just from having that. You get a lot of nice side effects from sculpting those forms. And as an artist, as a sculptor, while you're doing it, it helps you find your way, because they're kind of like little landmarks. Like, okay, how much distance from for example, from the nail to the next knuckle, and if you don't mark that section with a bit of those details, you might not necessarily know where to put it, or you might put it in the wrong place. And it helps to have that, because then it helps you measure and kind of see things like, okay, no, this is looking correct, this is looking a bit off. And yeah, hands are a tricky thing. Artists that draw will tell you they're a tricky thing to draw, and they can be a tricky thing to sculpt also.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's important to have nice detail on that. So yeah, I think I'm going to be moving on from the hands here, leave them alone, and I'm going to start just showing a bit of how we would go about putting pants on our monkey. So yeah, let's see. I would start out then basically.
Okay, so okay. See, the thing is, I know Marty also uses ZBrush, but I have absolutely no clue how it works. It's really interesting to see right now.
Yeah. It's also different artists work very differently from each other. Let me see. There's something a bit with my office right now, so turning them off.
So you're marking the area where you want to put the pants, and that's basically then the area you work on, or it's like a layer in Photoshop?
For example, here I'm taking away the tail, because the tail will be popping out of the pants, of course.
Right, yeah.
So this is basically, it's like Photoshop also. In Photoshop you can make masks.
Mm-hmm.
And you can make a selection of things that you want to affect or things that you don't want to affect. And here I'm making a selection of things that I want to turn into a new piece of mesh. So we're about to do an extraction. I do this a lot in the videos for the clothing and the recordings. And I also want to kind of make a specific video just explaining this process a bit more in depth. But those kinds of videos about the main features like that on ZBrush, I'm going to put a lot of that content in my YouTube channel for free, because it's mostly about user interface and about using the program. And then the specific things of process and how I build something, that's what's going to go into the making of DVD. So I'm going to try to keep that nice and trim. So over here I'm just going to this section that gives me a preview of what the extracted mesh would look like. So that's what we're seeing here. And it looks good. I think I'm going to take it. So you can just go and hit accept on that. And now over here there's a list of the meshes that we have created. I still had some masking on the tail, so I inherited a bit of the tail as a piece. And I think I'm going to just keep this here. And I'm going to just delete all the rest. And now I'm going to turn this into a Dynamesh.
I think as far as sculpting is concerned, you still have to know what you're doing, right? I mean, this software does not magically kind of make you an artist.
It's definitely. I think it's a usual misconception. Some people might think like, oh, this software does a lot of things for you, and in some areas it can. In some areas it can definitely speed up or help you do certain processes. But yeah, I mean, a good race car still needs a good pilot, right?
Yep, absolutely. So, I always say, a fool with a tool is still a fool.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, exactly. So now, I mean, we have these kind of silly jeans that he's wearing. So now we're gonna start kind of making that.
And you also did the 2D artwork, right?
Yeah. I really don't get to do that much 2D art for clients, but yeah, before I started only doing freelancing, in my full-time jobs, I was doing a lot of 2D art now and then for the projects that I would work on, and yeah, it's a skill set that I'm not at the level where some concept artists are, of course. I mean, I have friends that do concept art professionally, and they are at a crazy level that I just cannot compete. Because I think you also end up specializing in one thing or the other. There are artists out there that are really capable at both. I would just say I can hold my own in some basic extent of character design.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not at the crazy level that a lot of concept artists can be.
Yeah, and I think especially when it comes to character design, I mean, character design is one thing, being a concept artist is another thing. If you look at guys like Karl Kopinski, for example, I mean, he's not just creating characters, he's creating the whole scene. There's like battles going on and explosions going on, things like that. And obviously that is a whole different field. It's not just a character design in that area.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's even within concept art and illustration, there are sort of subspecialties. There's concept really good at, for example, doing environments. There are concept artists that are really good at doing characters, and there are very few that are really good at doing both. That's some of the top guys out there that are really just on the top of their game and just really good at the whole thing.
Yeah. So right now we have no one who's brave enough to be the first guest on a Beeble Babble. So
excellent.
you can call us at Skype username Painting Buddha, all together, all one word. And if you like to come onto the show, you can do so. Also, as always, you can leave your comments and questions to Hector or myself in the comments below. I'm always switching back and forth between the Google Hangout and the YouTube video because I know that sometimes it doesn't update correctly. Just want to make sure that we don't miss any comments.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm here to answer any questions. Also, if people have questions, just bring them on either through the chat or come along and join us in the call.
Yep. And when you're working like this, you told me before you're always working off the artwork. So it's basically a three-dimensional representation of what you see in 2D.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very used to with client work getting a concept art similar to what I basically made for BAM. Sometimes the concept art is already in the full-blown pose that it will be. My concept art here is in more of a neutral pose because I really wanted to kind of figure out his outfit. And in the other drawing, you might not see his outfit so well. And I mean, in the sculpt, you will see everything. It's there, three-dimensional.
Yeah.
But yeah, I often get the concept art already with the specific pose that the miniature is supposed to have and everything. And Yeah, I really like to, when I get really good concept art, I really try to do it justice. I really try to be respectful to the effort of the concept artist and also to the client giving me the concept art. And I try to be as true to the concept as possible. When I'm drawing things for myself, I have a bit of a specific style, and when I'm building things for a client, I'm often being asked to adapt to a style. So
yeah, yeah. And it's one of the things when also in the trailer video we showed some of your pieces, and there's very different styles. You got the Robotech stuff there, which is kind of very hard surfacey. You got the Kingdom Death, which is like all kinds of crazy details. Same with the Mirsha miniatures and so on. So yeah, obviously, if you're freelancing, you can't always put down your style, right?
no, you can put a bit of your own flavor into things. I mean, there's definitely room for that, and there's clients that might specifically approach you for that, your specific 3D sculpting style. And I have a few projects where the concept art is maybe a bit sketchy, maybe a little bit crude, and I get to put a bit of my own decisions into the sculpts for that. But if, like I said, if the concept art is just really good and it's a nice piece and it's an artist that I really like and all these things are part of the project, then yeah, it's on me, and it's part of what I like doing to just achieve that specific style that the concept artist might have as much as possible.
Yeah, and that was one of the ideas that we had behind the whole Painting Buddha Shares idea. Obviously, you've been successful in your field. You've made quite a few sculpts for different companies out there already. But what we wanted is your style, so that the real Hector Moran, if you want. And I think that's not even just half of it. That's probably more than half of the idea behind the whole Painting Buddha Shares. And obviously, yes, sharing the funds that we receive and so on, that's a different story. But just being able to do your own style, I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what I've really enjoyed about building the. You're going to see ZBrush stalling a little bit while it's auto-saving, and that's a good feature to have because you never know when a program might crash.
Oh yeah, I always hear it when it crashes. When Marty does some things like, here, look, and like, oh no, it crashed.
Yeah, that's really horrible. But some people don't like to have the autosave active. But I've learned to kind of live with the stalls that it does now and then on the whole computer.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you end up having a crash at some point, you'll be really glad that ZBrush autosaved your work. Yeah, so at the moment, for example, you'll see that I'm sculpting very symmetrically on the pants. And
actually, they don't, because I put you back on camera right now.
Oh, okay.
while YouTube was not YouTube, while ZBrush was stalling. So we are now at exactly 42 minutes into the show. People, this is your chance. 42 minutes. Call in. Call me Betty. Again, Painting Buddha on YouTube.
Yeah. And yeah, so some of the parts that are definitely going to be symmetric on the pants, I'm kind of already sculpting symmetrically. That is one of the benefits, of course, of working with a digital tool. You can have free symmetry, and of course, this sort of symmetry has to be broken up once you're posing the model and once you're making the final piece.
Yeah.
You want things to look natural, things to look good. So I eventually break the symmetry of things. Of course, for example, here the crotch is on one part that it definitely cannot be symmetric. The folds happen differently on each side.
Yeah.
So I'm about to turn off symmetry and just kind of free sculpt on this part of the pants. And here I'm going to be putting on the part where they close, the zipper, and also
that's a pretty deep zipper.
Yeah, well, the seam, the construction seam that happens, it kind of continues along the
Sure.
along the whole part here. And let's see how we're doing with the body. So yeah, of course, it's always good to have the body kind of showing underneath, so that you make sure that you're not going through the body and you're fitting the clothing correctly on the character. Yeah, now we're slowly getting to have a monkey with pants.
Mm-hmm.
Who would have thunk with pants? So yeah, just building these parts.
So the you said that when it comes to sculpting, because you really like going into all of the details of pretty much every aspect of a miniature, you said that you're not the fastest modeler out there.
No, there's definitely a lot of people that are super fast and really quick and really good at getting their main lines and their main shapes kind of going.
Mm-hmm.
I can be fast with some things. There's some things that I'm very well practiced with that I can actually do pretty fast. And there's things, of course, that slow me down a bit. Like, for example, with Robotech, I'm not the fastest at hard surface sculpting and modeling in general, as far as hard surface things. So that's both the mechs for Relic Knights and the Robotech Veritech models. Those took me a little bit longer than a lot of organic pieces take me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we have something planned for next year, which is also hard surface. It's a vehicle.
Uh-huh.
And it's actually we're just currently creating the first copies of that, and I know that is very, very hard in ZBrush. It's not necessarily a native tool for that.
Yeah, I mean it hasn't been for the beginning very friendly for hard surface, but by now it has become pretty possible to do hard surface and really well done hard surface pieces with ZBrush. It's gotten a lot better for it. There are people that grasp it really well and are doing really amazing sculpts and hard surface these days.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean those guys kind of proved that it can be a native tool by now for it. It's just a matter of knowing your way around it and knowing how to use some of those tools and being practiced at those things. I mean, definitely a lot of the characters that I've made for miniatures have been human or humanoid.
Mm-hmm.
So I know my way around the human anatomy and just male and female human forms well enough, and I can build a human body a little bit stylized if I'm not looking at enough reference, but I can build one without any reference relatively quickly these days, and that is something that I didn't have some years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that maybe someone that is really good and really fast at building cars and airplanes might actually take a really long time doing, or just not be able to do it all because it's a different specialty that they went into.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I think ZBrush, I don't know how many gazillion functions it has, but there's just so much stuff you can do with it. Like every single little button on the right has a what do you call it?
Submenus.
Submenus with hundreds and thousands of tools. It's insane.
Yeah, they call them palettes and sub palettes.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're massive. You can keep expanding them on, and they just keep scrolling. So yeah, they're really like that.
Cool. Let me just check. I think we have still no questions. So either everyone is just completely flabbergasted and say, "Oh wow, okay, I understand everything. That's good," or people are enjoying their Sunday and think we don't need to comment. Come on, let's see. Where is my? YouTube. There it is. Just going to check real quick because the Google Hangouts again is still broken, but nope, there's no new comments yet. Yeah, I think it's Sunday. It's Sunday. People are just they're having dinner or whatever. So.
Yeah. No, but at least we'll have this for the backers to check out anytime.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll put it up. I'll also put it up in the campaign as an update. So I'm probably going to end up editing out the beginning when we had the technical difficulties. But well, I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
So the monkey itself, on the fur, you've worked a couple of days already in the fur, right?
Yeah, yeah. The fur has a bit of time put into it already, so it's a bit of a tedious process, but yeah, it's definitely worth putting up in there and having it nicely done. I'm still refining it. I'm still really kind of combing it and really deciding how thick some of it is, how far out some of it goes. Like for example, I think some of the shoulder hair, if we look at the concept, I think some of this shoulder hair should be coming out like a bit more along these lines. So yeah, I'll be doing a pass of basically just kind of refining the fur a bit more.
And that's how you work. You basically kind of finish one section, finish in the meaning of, well, it's not 100% finished, but maybe 80% finished. Then do another section. You come back, and as you said earlier, you want to get it as close to the artwork as possible.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the thing sometimes that happens is that if you're working on one area for really long, you get a bit of a tunnel vision, or you just don't see anymore the mistakes and where things are not looking good. Yeah. So when it comes to something like this, something that is a bit complex and that might take a long time to finish, it's good to do it in a few passes where you kind of take it to a certain extent, then you leave it alone, and then you come back to it later.
Yeah. So and I remember when we did the Betty, and you did this kind of A-pose modeling where she was just the arms to her side and so on. For me, it was really hard to envision how you would take this to the kind of post model, especially also the face. Also now with Ben right now with the face, his face is very generic. It doesn't have any. The mouth isn't open and things like that. But how that actually turned over into this kind of expression also on Betty, that was quite amazing to see.
Yeah, and I really want to. I mean, I have recorded the video of the posing process also. Mm-hmm. So if we get to that stretch goal, we'll definitely be able to put that in the video. Some nice little clips of how the posing process happened. And yeah, I would, if we also do an alternate head on her, I would love to do a different facial expression on it.
Yeah.
Just play around with the face, and I think we could kind of decide with our backers on some of that, but also decide what she, if basically if she would be just not wearing her hat and with kind of her hair free in the wind, or a ponytail, I don't know, some
completely different hairstyle.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe still with the goggles on top of her head, maybe not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all of these things, they're still.
That's one of the things that I like a lot about Jeremy Glenn's Kickstarter for Creature Caster, where he started doing designs, kind of like a feedback session. And this show here tonight is basically the first start of this kind of design feedback session, where people can say, hey, how about doing this or that? I remember that the what was her name again? One of the demons, she had like a really strange expression with her mouth, and somebody commented that on the Facebook section, and they changed it, and now she looked really, really different, but very, very awesome. And that's kind of what we have in mind as well. Also with the additional weapons, we can do any weapon.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity. It's just a matter of having the time. And unfortunately, the time is kind of linked to how far we get with the backing and the funding, because as much as I would love to keep working on them really, really long and get them really, really far, yeah, there's other jobs that need doing and other things that have to be done. So
yeah.
We don't have forever, and I mean, yeah, for sure, we need to fulfill as soon as we close the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be hard at work on fulfilling what we reach.
Yeah. Yeah, we put down May 2015 for fulfillment, which we all feel is very, very possible.
Yeah, it's pretty generous.
Yeah, and I think what you said just a moment ago is that we want to make sure that we put as much stuff in here as possible. We have some really, really cool stretch goals. And yeah, I mean, we raked the first one already after a day and a half, almost 2 days. And we're well on our way to a second one, so it looks really good right now.
Yeah, it's looking great.
Yeah, very excited about it. For us, it's also new. I mean, doing a crowdfunding campaign like this time with Indiegogo, we've never done this before, and that also is a learning curve.
Yeah, I mean, I've been involved in a lot of successful Kickstarter projects, but mostly before they were kickstarted or shortly after they successfully kickstarted, I was called in to join the team. With Kingdom Death, I was part of that team through almost all of the 4 or 5 years that Adam was working on it before the Kickstarter. It was on the works for a long time before it went as a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We have a question from Jonas VDP. I'm just going to post it up here. The question is, do you use ZBrush? I don't even know what that is, but probably,
that
probably means something to you. So.
Yeah, I do use ZBrush, and that's actually how I tried to do a first draft of the basic low poly body, like this one here. So this was I tried to do a version of this with the ZBrush. Unfortunately, I ended up doing this new mesh with Topogun, with a different retopology tool, because ZBrush was not giving me the results that I was looking for. I wanted a really basic mesh that kind of ignored some of the flow of the hair. Mm-hmm. ZBrush is really good at following the flow of what you sculpt. But in this case, it wasn't doing what I wanted and needed it to do. So I went and made my own specific base mesh for him. I did start him as a Dynamesh, and then from the Dynamesh on the Dynamesh that was sculpted to a certain point, I started drawing the new clean mesh on top. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that might have sounded like gibberish to a lot of people.
No, I completely understood every word you said, and I could do it myself now. I have no idea what you just said.
Glad I could help.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hopefully that answers the question. I mean, definitely, I do use ZBrush. There are some meshes that, for example, some of Betty's clothing, they were just ZBrushed, and the ZBrush worked out great for them. So I didn't bother do a custom mesh. I mostly use it whenever it gives me a mesh that I'm happy with. If it doesn't give me a mesh that is gonna do what I need it to do, then I just take matters into my own hands and build something myself. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a bit of an in-depth question, but yeah, it's good that there's people out there knowledgeable of some of these features and stuff. So yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, definitely not me. But you know what? That is also part of what we are here at Painting Buddha trying to do. Is well, first of all, Painting Buddha ourselves. We have Marty here. Marty is our in-house sculptor. Works for us full time. He's both. Well, he comes obviously from the classical sculpting, but also works on ZBrush. And it's amazing to see. I mean, like when I'm watching you right now, it's just amazing to see how some of these miniatures just come to life using a 3D sculpting tool. We got Ben. Ben is our art director soul. Marty is art director body. Ben is art director soul. And Ben is so knowledgeable, obviously, about miniature painting, but also design, these kind of things. Matt works here full time now for mostly for video editing, but also obviously for filming, as he's an insanely good painter himself. And so I always believed, even when I was in my previous job, that finding the right people to do the right job is always the most important part about anything.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's kind of what this project is also about. I remember, I think I left a comment on your Facebook page. Was it after one of the Nocturna models, or?
Maybe. Was it the Maleficent?
I think it was. I think it was. And that's kind of how we got in context. Like, hey, I kind of like what you're doing. And you said, hey, thanks. And then said, hey, would you like to Skype? And you said, sure. And all of a sudden, we were on a project together. So.
Yeah, it's how things come together. It's really interesting sometimes, and it's also important to just if you feel like you should contact someone and kind of take some steps to maybe work together, that you go ahead and do that and try it out. I mean, you never know what can come out of just talking to people and talking projects and all kinds of things. Yeah, I mean that's how a lot of my client work gets started. They either approach me. In some cases, I've actually approached clients, and and I've gotten myself the job.
I think Mega Man was one of those, right?
Yeah, exactly. Mega Man was one where I was like, okay, I have to elbow my way into this somehow, and yeah, so I kind of did, and it worked out great. I really enjoyed working on that project. It was very fun.
Well, it always helps if you're a fan of something, and you've been a big fan of Mega Man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one of these like childhood
dreams or
games that I played, and I always kind of liked the little guy. So.
Yeah. You actually work in an area where we have a question from Aymadik Sai. He asked, what an amazing work, amazing details. Will there be some kind of holes around the tail, like some kind of self-cut jeans?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna. These are gonna be as if maybe he's wearing like a baby's jeans, maybe even custom like jeans made for a doll or something. Because capuchins are very tiny monkeys. I mean, they may look big and imposing in these drawings, but these guys are really tiny. They come barely to maybe above her knee, you know. So they're very small guys, because capuchins are just small monkeys. They're not big like chimps. So his pants would basically be maybe the pants of either a really small baby. I mean, I've seen really tiny jeans for small babies anyways. So maybe those could fit in, or maybe they would just be custom ones. But I think it would be cool if there's just a hole that he busted into the pants to kind of fit his tail through it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's many specialty stores for capuchin jeans out there in the future.
Yeah. Monkey clothing. Yeah. No, I mean these monkeys are great, and yeah, it's as much as I love monkeys, it's one of those things that it's a shame that if you love the animals, then you would never have one of those as a pet or anything like that.
Yeah.
Those animals just belong in the wild and away from us hairless apes.
Well, and which kind of brings us, we haven't really talked about this yet during the campaign, but for me it's always hard to start at a point where people kind of understand what I'm talking about, because a lot of thought and a lot of complex ideas go into everything we do. But when we talked about this project, and I talked to you about this Y model, the 42% for the artist, 42% for reinvestment, and then 16% for charity, that is something that we here at Painting Buddha already worked like that for over 2 years. But it's a very new concept, and a lot of people have never heard of it. And when we talked about the, let me just find that site real quick. when we talked about the charities we want to support.
Yeah.
Obviously, we here at Painting Buddha, we're supporting One Love, onelove.org. It's the Bob Marley Foundation.
Yeah.
And they mostly run projects for children or where children are involved, whether it's schooling or any kind of supplies or infrastructure and so on. And you have chosen this one here. Hold on, where is it? There. And that is the Monkey World Ape Rescue Center.
Yep. Yeah, it's it was. I knew the TV show that was shown in the Animal Planet. It was basically sort of a reality show of just the daily life in that specific shelter.
Hold on 1 second. I messed things up here. Now it's just me. We don't want just me. Let me do this again. Yeah, keep talking. Sorry.
Yes.
I'm gonna do this on the fly.
Yeah. So I kind of when I started thinking of a good charity to donate, I thought it would be. I cannot think of that many specific charities that I could say like I really trust this charity, or because you never know. There's certain charities, like for example, there's a lot of them in run from the U.S. that maybe operate in Africa, and it's like there's that South Park episode where they're donating to that, and you see that the money is kind of not even going to the children.
Yeah.
So they're kind of talking about. I mean, it's a spoof, of course, but there's a bit of truth in a lot of the things that South Park spoofs. They're basically doing a lot of social commentary. So yeah, what they were talking about is how some of those charities can turn out to be scams or just kind of not what you think. And yeah, I mean this was a shelter that I knew about, that I had heard, and I'd seen the show, and I thought like, yeah, this could be something. I mean, animals in shelters and things like that certainly use our help and our charity for getting a bit of rehabilitation from the things that maybe people did to them, specifically in shelters like that. I mean, it's circus chimps or it's even zoo chimps that maybe, or monkeys that were in zoos that were not the best conditions and things like that. So yeah, this kind of shelters just rescue them. The sad thing about things like that, of course, is that you cannot put that kind of animal back in the wild. They don't adapt. They wouldn't survive. So they end up having to just live out their lives in something like a shelter, and that was one of the shelters I knew about. So yeah, it sounded like a great one to go and donate, and also to honor the fact that we have monkeys in our.
I was just about to say that. It's like, okay, well, we do have monkeys in here, so why not combine that a little bit?
Yeah,
I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah, give back to the real monkeys, since we're using some of digital made-up monkeys in this project.
Yeah. Here we can already see what kind of in answer to Emmerich's question is the bust out in the back of the pants for his tail.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit torn and kind of busted there, and yeah, I'm gonna be just cleaning that up a bit more later. But right now, I'm just getting a lot of the block out shapes in there, just kind of getting it all organized. See how it's gonna fit. Are there any other questions at the moment? Or?
No, actually there are not. I was just looking at them. We have Jack, who said that he's trying to take in all of the info. He's painting at the same time. He's downloading Skype to his notepad. so I'm not sure if it's going to be done by the end of the show. But one of the comments I get a lot from people that watch our Beeble Babbles, even especially after we show them live on air, is that they like painting doing that. Just kind of listening to people talking about painting and hobby and miniatures and stuff. And there's kind of have it as background noise if you want. I think it's awesome. It's great. Like when
Yeah,
I paint,
I
I
actually,
always have music on, or like a movie or a audio book or something like that.
I myself have watched a lot of Beeble Babble backlogs while I sculpt at my office.
Mm-hmm.
I put them on the other monitor, and I just have them running while I'm sculpting away the day. And yeah, they are. It's like radio, you know. Like sometimes there's certain tasks that you cannot do while listening to music or to the radio or I don't know, an audiobook and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's things that you can do while listening to other stuff. And I tend to be a lot like that. I tend to need a bit of it needs to be either music or some kind of talky show, some show where people are talking and are saying something interesting or some new stuff. I've basically listened to a lot of tutorial material
Yeah.
for different things that way, and I've actually watched some of not just the Beeble Babbles, but even some of the painting videos. Well, listen to them mostly
Mm-hmm.
while I'm working, and I'm still definitely with full intention to put some of my digital abilities back into the real world and try my hand at painting.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Some
We should put like a stretch goal level in there for you, where we invite you to Berlin for like a 3-day workshop or something.
Yeah, I mean, even if it doesn't happen, I think I will try to make that happen somehow.
Yeah,
Anyways,
that'd be awesome.
I think I have a lot of ex-colleagues and friends in Berlin also, and yeah, I've been there a couple of times, and it would be cool because I would get to visit them also. So yeah, that would be quite a nice thing. So I'm going to be pulling out the belt loops over here. So and that's going to be with just another mesh extraction like this here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that looks good. So we're going to do it, and then we have the belt loops. They're separate.
It's amazing. To me, this looks all like magic and sorcery and witchcraft, but
Yeah, it's really a bit weird to just watch without context, I think.
yeah. The as far as the pants are concerned, obviously that is a very simple object. There's not too much detail in there. It's not like what we put on her on Betty's jacket, for example. We got all the little buttons on there, a little fur. We have belts, all kinds of different belts on her. We have the shirt, for example, which has a lot of detail actually. So it's a different kind of object, isn't it?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, the audio kind of faded a bit
Okay, sorry.
at the end of your
I
sentence.
just said that the level of detail and sculpting on something like these pants obviously is very different from other areas, especially when we're talking about Betty, for example, where we just her upper body alone is just full of details like buttons and belts and belt buckles and so on.
Yeah, and some of those took me a bit of time. I mean, also in some cases, sometimes I'm not as smart as I could be with building certain things. Like when I come back to something and I'm looking at how I built it the first time, I'm like, I'm an idiot. I could have done it this other way, and that would have been faster, and it would have come out like clean way faster. But yeah, and sometimes I'm actually able to come up with the better approach for something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's always a bit of back and forth. There's many ways of doing the same thing here within ZBrush, and yeah, my way of working is a bit different from many of the other people working out there in ZBrush and also in miniatures, even in digital. So yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a different approach.
Yeah, we have a question from Ben. Hey Ben, I know that you're watching because you just posted a question and you're watching a lot, so thanks a lot for your support. He just wrote, hi, wait, I lost his comment. Is it still there? That's one of the things that happens on YouTube. It shows a comment and then it vanishes. But I still have it in mirror image on my Google Plus, and I'm going to find it on YouTube real quick. Hold on. Because I'm not going to read mirror image right now. I don't even have my glasses on, which is going to be hard. So, Hero. Hey guys, watching the show whilst painting Skeletor.
Awesome.
Big fan of Hector's work on Relic Knights, especially Harbonat. Quick question on the Indiegogo. If the 32mm stretch goal is hit, will it be available to buy as an add-on if you haven't pledged for the large version? P.S. Bundle of Love has arrived. Awesome. All right. Yeah, the Bundles of Love. Those have a lot of friends out there. So thanks for your support. So if the 32mm stretch goal is hit, we'll probably add it as a extra item as well for people that just want that. But it will be part of the collector's edition, the Everything Betty, and of course the Double Trouble. So every set that has the collector's edition in there will also have the 32mm version of her in there.
Yeah, I think for the 32, I'm also going to have to do a bit of adjusting here and there. Definitely, it's a bit of a difference between the scales, and sometimes for those kinds of scales, you have to exaggerate some things just so that they will print, and that the printing company will not come back at you like, "Hey, this is way too small, man." So yeah, we'll do some adjusting on her, but like always, I will try to preserve everything that I put on there as much as possible, or just adapt it as well as possible for the scale.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons why we actually went for the 75mm version, so that you could show all the incredible detail that you want to show. Obviously, if you do a 32mm, you're just limited in what is technically possible. If you're doing something larger than 54, let's say 75 or 90, then of course you have much more real estate at your disposal to put details on there.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we'll make it work.
Yeah. All right. So I think we've shown some of the sculpting. We've shown how you build a scratch model, a very rough scratch model blob. That would probably be like one of my final results if I ever try to sculpt something. And we've shown you a little bit on how to do something very simple like these pants. And if you like this, if you like to watch some more detail, maybe we can do like another show in the future, in the next couple of days. I'd be completely up for that. And since you have to do it anyways, why not just do the screen share and get your work done on the air?
Yeah, we can do that. I wouldn't say anytime, but definitely a few more times for sure. It's it's totally possible.
Yeah, nice. So I think there were no more questions. What I think we should do right now is we're just going to wrap things up at this point. Just want to do a couple of things that are important, and that would be this here. Oh, hold on. Okay. No, that's not the one. Here we go. So we have the treasure hunt. The treasure hunt, of course, as you all know, was a multi-vendor idea, one of our crazy ideas, kind of like painting Buddha shares, trying to find new ways of doing miniatures in the miniature industry. And we have a lot of friends out there. And when I say friends, I really mean friends, people that we know personally, that really tried to get new stuff out there, new ideas out there for the community. And as a result of that, we had this treasure hunt from the 1st to the 10th of December. The winners have been drawn. I know the winners. And tomorrow night at 7, we'll have a Beeble Babble special for the treasure hunt, again joined by Fernando Ruiz. And we will we will announce the winners of all of the individual page prizes. And we will draw the one person that gets the 1,500 euros big treasure chest, excluding the chest. But there's got to be tons of miniatures, airbrush, sculpting clay, sculpting tools, like all kinds of stuff in there. And I think it's got to be awesome. So definitely don't miss that.
Yep.
Other than that, of course, let me get this zoomed correctly. Here we go. Thank you for your support so far. We've been funded within a day and a half. We need we need about 4,000 euros just to get the production started. Of course, we need to print the model. We have to have molds made. We have to buy boxes and these kind of things. And you know us, we're going to make those boxes extra awesome. I'm a collector at heart. I'm going to make sure that there's as much value in the whole thing as I can possibly get through. So it's going to be really nice. And so your support really, really helps us try to do something new. I hope you like the whole idea behind Painting Buddha Shares, the idea of getting the artist really involved in this whole process, and not just being the artist and selling us a work, but being a full partner of this project. Yeah, I think it looks like if things go the way they're going right now, we will definitely do something like this in the future as well. Nice.
Excellent.
Yeah, that I believe. If we have any more questions, I don't think we do. Nope. Well, it's a Sunday, so let me get your camera back. Sorry. Here we go. So it's a Sunday. Obviously, it's not the busiest day of the week. For us, the weeks are always Friday at noon. Basically, the internet is dead. So people usually go on Facebook and these kind of things from work. And rightfully so, on the weekend, they take the weekend off. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, of course. No, I think it's fine. We will have this on for the backers and also available for your channel. So yeah, it's right there.
We have one last question. Okay, we have to get two more comments. Well, first of all, from one of three people, I believe, that have seen every single show, Monster Mundi 85. Got to love the monkey. Yes, you do. We all love monkeys. And then we have one final question from Adeptus Custodes. Hi, guys, great show. Just one question. Are you not afraid of losing detail when the miniature is cast in metal, as it has the habit of rounding the fine edges off when casting? Resin has better properties for keeping small details, or will there be the option later of a resin cast? Greetings, Dennis. Well, first of all, I wouldn't say that you're losing detail on the metal cast. We have a metal caster who has years and years and decades of experience in casting both resin and metal miniatures. So definitely, I don't think that there's going to be any losing of details there. I mean, you know us, we make sure that the quality of what is being cast in the end is what you need. As far as resin is concerned, will there be resin versions available? We've gotten this question twice so far, and obviously when we are making masters for the metal cast, we will have to make resin ones as well. So we might make a handful, but resin casting is something that in the quantities we're looking at is very difficult to do. Because you can just use a resin mold so and so oftentimes, and because we have so much detail on this miniature, they won't last very long, and that would make the whole process extremely time-consuming and very, very costly as well. So I don't want to give you a definite no on this. There are definitely going to be a handful of resin miniatures out there. I don't think we're going to make hundreds of resin copies, definitely not. But we keep that question in mind as well. All right? Okay, so Hector, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure watching you do your magic and hearing about, what was it, T-Resh Master something, whatever.
ZBrush.
ZBrush.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm clueless with these things. But no, guys, thanks for watching. I know it's a Sunday. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. And as of Monday, we're going to be right back in the middle of our crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo. Yep. Share and enjoy. Tell your friends about this if you like the idea.
Happy Sunday, everyone.
Yep. I'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care, guys.
Yep. Bye.